There is this very sad story on Vanguard newspaper. Plateau survivors, we pretended to be dead. My son tried to crawl away from me and they killed him. We will talk about that particular violence in Plateau State, in Bokkos and the Barkin Ladi. Really sad occurrence. Earlier this year, I had a conversation with Chief Joseph Mangu, who is the chairman of the Development Association of Mahaval Community in Plateau State. And remember, if you remember, for those who have been following reflections, all year long, you would remember that conversation where he told me outrightly that the death toll was very close to 200. And then now, when we thought everything was over, on Christmas Eve, some persons attacked several communities in Bokkos and Barkin Ladi, and we can't even see exactly what the exact death toll is. Some say 80, some say 100, some say 150. How did we get here? Think about some of the things that even the army has said. Yeah. You begin to wonder, is everything all right? Well, this morning I am going to be speaking to a security expert who is the managing director of Clearview Securities Limited in Plateau State. Interestingly, he's a Yoruba man. Mr. Toyin Adesina joins me now via telephone. Good morning, Mr. Toyin Adesina.
Good morning, my brother. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us this morning. I know a lot of people are wondering, with all the hassles going on in Plateau, what is somebody like you who does, the name obviously does not sound like you're an indigene of Plateau State. What are you doing? Are you not scared?
Well, some of us have virtually become Platonians by virtue of the fact that, for instance, I was born, bred, and buttered, if you like to say that, in Jos Plateau State.
Interesting.
And I've had a lot of establishments, and it might interest you to know that my wife is also a Plateau State indigene in Biron by tribe. So it's the kind of unity that we really require in this country to move forward.
Interesting.
So I'm by a Plateau person, by association, by so many reasons.
In fact, you can claim indigeneship of that particular state. So let us get to it. The incident in Barkin Ladi and Bokkos. I don't know if you have an idea of what the root cause is.
Okay. Thank you very much once again. I'd like to start by commiserating with the government and the good people of Plateau State, particularly the people of Mangu, which you seem to be leaving out, Mangu,
Yes,
Barkin Ladi, and Bokkos, where the gruesome attacks actually took place. Our prayers for the souls of those who lost their lives to rest in peace.
Amen.
And we also pray that the good Lord will lay his healing hands on those who are receiving treatment in hospitals.
Definitely.
Not forgetting the ones that are displaced, thousands that are virtually displaced now. It is unfortunate, it is sad, it is uncalled for, an unprovoked attack which has gone on for a long time. To answer your question, I'd like to draw our attention to history. You see, because these things have occurred severally over and over again, and the unfortunate part of it is that you never get anybody arrested, prosecuted, so that the dastardly act can stop. If you recall, on the 7th of March 2010, there was an attack in a small village called Dogona Awa, also in Jos South local government, where not less than 500 people were killed, were massacred in a midnight attack. That was in 2010. That for me was the beginning of this kind of dastardly attacks. And the sad part of it, from that period, 2010, fast forward to this time, and in fact on June 2023, there was an attack in Mangu where more than 100 were also killed. In all of this, again, fast forward to this period, the one we are talking about currently, which occurred in Mangu local government, Bokkos local government, and Barkin Ladi local government. Now, you ask yourself, what is the government doing in terms of what should be done to stop this dastardly attack? And to answer your question directly, I'd like to quote one or two things that the governor, the present governor, said concerning the reason, the problem behind the attack. He says, for instance, that there's a breakdown of trust in both the inter-communities and intra-communities, which open the flanks for non-state actors to take control. That, for me, is a peripheral reason.
Okay.
But looking at it broadly, the patterns that have, emerged now is showing us that the narrative it should be different.
What should the narrative then be?
Fine, thank you. You see, as it stands, no group has really claimed, responsibility. But from our own investigations, ISWAP is responsible. ISWAP, which is a jihadist militant group,
yes,
is going around to carry out its jihadist activities. And I'm saying this without fear or favor, because the intel showed that there was a lot of, information around the fact that these people boasted that they were going to give the Christians, let me be sincere with you, they were going to give the Christians what they call Goron Christmas. You know what that means? Christmas gifts. It went round and round and round, and to the extent that on Christmas Eve, in fact, the Sunday before Christmas, a lot of churches had a large, proportion of deployment of military and other security agencies.
That's
now,
the Sunday before Christmas.
Yes. So if this intelligence is all around and they also have it, so where are the flashpoints? The flashpoints we know include the areas that were eventually attacked on the eve of Christmas. And before now, also we have had this kind of, attacks in places like Bassa, Riyom, and the rest of them. So the question is, what will now make our security agents not prepared proactively to tackle this? So for me, it is an expansionist thing which is being carried out by ISWAP. And I will buttress the point by the fact that a lot of places that have been attacked like this in the past, there were situations where people who attacked them later came and settled down there. No attempt by government or even any well-meaning, individuals in this community to say no and reclaim these lands and give them back to the rightful owners. So the whole thing, the narrative is clear. It is a genocidal attack, and unless we confront it headlong, particularly on the part of our security agencies, we will just be going front and back.
Even though you say that what the governor has said as the root cause of this attack is peripheral, your explanation, in some sense, may also represent that particular explanation that he is given, meaning that there is a breakdown among communities and Plateau, especially in those communities that have been affected. And then you have external players like ISWAP, taking advantage of that particular situation. So in the long run, then you think that it is what the governor has said is not just peripheral, but maybe the actuality.
Yes, I'm saying that, yes, it is not peripheral. I just use that as one of what he said. But the truth is, and I stand by it, is that this is genocide. They are trying to wipe out a particular set of people, drive them away from where their ancestral lines by systematically killing them. So, and unfortunately, it is sad that government is doing little or nothing because they are not doing enough.
All right. First, let's even look at it from this angle. If this intelligence was available, why didn't, because I know that you must have had some interactions with, some of the officers because of the job you do.
Yes.
Why didn't they act all round on that information? Isn't there something fishy in there?
Yes, certainly, absolutely. That is another area that we are truly interrogating, because this intel, I will tell you one or two things, even from those who are, not so keen on security, in quote. I have a record of a lady who spoke to her siblings, 2 grown-up men, on the eve of Christmas. And their discussion was about that 2 of them have now joined a vigilante group because they have information that they are likely going to be attacked. Now, fast forward to when the whole thing happened. This whole place was wiped out. Now, these people, what are they facing the terrorists with? Matches and sticks and ding guns. And this person I'm talking about said, eventually these people, when she was talking to one of them later when the attack started, they came with heavy machinery. And then these villagers were left helplessly to face this kind of heavy, gunpowder. Now, the point here is simple. These people were left to their fates. And that brings us to the issue of complicity on the part of our security agents. In fact, high-ranking generals have said something about this. Otherwise, when the first attack during this His Excellency's reign, the new governor, when the attack started, or it occurred in Mangu, where about over 150 lost their lives, and about 30,000 or more people.
Was that earlier this year?
June 2023, precisely.
Yeah, no, was that before? I think that was just few days before the governor took over.
Yes.
I remember that we had a conversation around that time too.
Very well.
Yeah.
During that period, and as soon as he took over, he decided to visit the president. And he got very good, response from the president, where the president also promised to rejig the security architecture of Nigeria as a whole, with particular emphasis on Plateau. And what that brought to Plateau at that time was that units were now established around Mangu, Barkin Ladi, and the rest of them. All of these units were around and, just to say it, functional. And now he also tried, in his own part, to, rejig Operation Rainbow, which is a state-owned security outfit, so that they could be able to go around and gather intelligence that will help these other units that have been established. All of this, as far as I know, were done. And in different forums, it was said that, okay, they now have intelligence report. Now, for the security agencies to say, for instance, that they received over 30 distress calls on that day, and that the terrain were not accessible to them. So what have they been doing all this while, from June to December? Security is very simple. Honestly, security has to do with patrolling. And patrolling all the time is the backbone of security. So you wonder, and you tend to want to accept or agree with the fact that they are complicit. Because if you even had 30 distress calls, which of them did you respond to? To the extent that people's houses were completely burned, people were killed like that, mostly women and children. I mean, it is sad. The excuse is lame, is unacceptable, it is untenable. And so it is not as if the security are not aware, or the agencies are not aware, but they refused, as it were, to respond.
What could be the problem? Is it that perhaps they do not have the sort of firepower to match these attackers?
Like I said, they are complicit, or their complicity is only known to them. Why they refuse to do what they should do. Again, you recall that, there are certain things going on, unfortunately, amongst our security agencies. They are not also very united. There is this ego thing about who is superior to who. Instead of uniting and fighting this common enemy, there are some bureaucratic things that go on when these things occur. What I'm saying, in essence, is that apart from the fact that they sometimes are not very united, they ought to be prepared. The Boy Scout motto says, be prepared. With all the intelligence reports, I will not say they do not have the adequate firepower to face these terrorists. What I'm saying is, what was their level of response? What was their level of preparedness in view of the fact that intelligence reports showed that there's likely going to be an attack from these terrorists? So the issue of firepower is one, for me, is just out of it. Since there are units around there, what did their patrolling tell them? How did we learned that they came in through bikes? And there's no way, for God's sake, no way that bikes can go. And you are saying you don't have, the terrain is difficult, you cannot access it. And those criminals accessed it. So they don't have any excuse as far as I'm concerned.
The vice president was in Plateau a couple of days ago to see some of the victims, express his condolences and commiserate, with the people there, and he expressed in words the concerns, the pains of Mr. President, and gave certain assurances. You're in Plateau.
Yes.
What do the people of Plateau think about that particular action and the assurances given by the vice president on behalf of the president?
The truth is, the Plateau people are used to this kind of, people, when things occur, when things like this happen, people come around and tell them, give them assurances and all. But honestly, the Plateau people, the language, I am saying it as to the Platonians themselves, that the language is that, look, we have to do something for ourselves. Because we have had, the Plateau people are tired of, when it happens, delegates come, they say they would, get the perpetrators and all of that. From Togo now, 7th March 2010, when that one occurred, nobody up to date, if I'm wrong, I challenge anybody to correct me, that nobody was, arrested, no prosecution made. Fast forward to the ones that happened in Rio, Bassa, and in fact Bokkos at that time too. No arrests were made. Nothing happened after investigations. And so these people, their psychology is simple. Not just the fact that they perpetrate these crimes and they go scot-free, but that they can do it and do it again and nothing will happen.
So even though there is a new man at the presidency who is calling the shots, and he has said, hey, make sure that you get the perpetrators, the people of Plateau do not believe that anything is going to change.
For me, I am saying that they look at it as the usual normal thing that happens when an incident like this occurs. there will be high delegation, or sometimes even like the presidency came now. The vice president was here with the national security advisor, the chief of army staff, and many other high placed, and then, of course, the IGP also has been here. He was here on Friday. And all these talks, yes, we take it. But what the Plateau man wants is a stoppage to this carnage. It's because they are becoming hopeless, helpless, and the sorrow, the sadness, you can imagine what has been happening. So the truth is, yes, they saw them coming and all of that, but at the back of their minds is like one of those things.
Give us a reason why you think government is not matching action with its words.
Thank you very much. You see, when the governor visited the president, he had very comforting responses. And of course, we saw the establishment of units, like I said. But what the people really want to see is that before this happens, or when it is happening, they should see a kind of rapid response that will also counter the attacks from those terrorists. It has never happened. Do you know that the attack started on the eve of Christmas? It went
on to about
into
Tuesday.
Christmas.
Yes.
Then to the other day, and there was no sign. As I speak with you, yesterday there were those who are still around some of the villages, and their lamentation is that they still had gunshots around, and there's no sign, no physical presence of security. Do you get it? So where is their hope? How will they believe that people are going to rescue them? This is where I said, yes, government, yes, this issue of, and again, I listened to a former legislator. He spoke yesterday in one of the radio stations here, and he made it clear that there is need for government to actually, like you said, match their words with action, because all that is required has already been provided for by the National Assembly. The required laws, in fact, the monetary aspect go with it. And that is, again, brings me to the fact that there's serious complicity on the part of the security agencies, because you cannot take them away from government. They are representatives of government. They are the ones who carry out the issue of protecting lives and property, and which government has made effort to see that everything they require is given to them.
I understand that the governor of Plateau State, Caleb Muftwang, is from that particular axis, is a son of the soil.
Mangu. Yes, it's different from Bokkos, and it's different from Barkin Ladi. He's from Mangu.
Yes, he's from Mangu, and Mangu was also affected by in fact, was the base of the attack earlier this year, and also some of the communities were affected recently. He is also meant to be chief security officer of the state and have access to intelligence even before it gets elsewhere. Is he acting like he is deeply concerned by what is happening?
In fact, for the first time, I can tell you categorically that we experience some kind of change as far as the security challenges are concerned as soon as he took over. It was not in my place to blame any government, past or whatever, but as soon as he came, he showed and demonstrated clear commitment to ensuring that the entire people of Plateau can sleep with their two eyes closed. This I can attest to from his visit to Mr. President, his visit to all the security chiefs, and of course the IGP, and of course the result of those consultations he made. It was as a result of that, for instance, that those units I'm talking about in places like Mangu and Barkin Ladi and other villages, that we now saw a new operation. They called it Operation Adinkai, and we saw these soldiers around. But the fault they have, I mean, these soldiers, is that they do not go deep into the hinterland. They do not patrol deep into the hinterland. Unless they begin to do that, we may not get anywhere. So on the part of the governor, I give it to him 100%. He has demonstrated clearly that he is committed to ensuring that the lives and property of the people of Plateau is secured. And he has done that personally. He has moved around on the part of the indigenes here and everyone living here. He has showed that he has zero tolerance to insecurity. And so I give it to him. He's doing a lot to ensure that, the state is secured.
All right, we have been receiving several reports as regards the death toll from this recent attack. You are closer because you're in Plateau. What sounds like perhaps the realistic death toll from the incident that has played out? We've seen 80 in some cases, we've seen 150, but from what you have had, to what extent has the death toll risen, or what's the exactitude or the exact death toll?
I want to state first and foremost that it may be very, very difficult to get that number now, that figure now. We can only be speculating. And the reason is simple. As I speak with you, yesterday, some, community leaders said they are still combing the bushes, searching for missing persons. That is one aspect. Two, there are those who were burnt with their houses. They were inside. You don't know how many there are. The houses were burnt fully, so they were burnt inside, so you may not be able to. But realistically, I can tell you that the figure is well above 200 now.
Above 200?
Yes.
I really do not have words to say, but let's move on to security generally in 2023. You walk along that line. You've had a lot of reports. You must have seen some of the things yourself. Has there been any change? Why? Because President Bola Tinubu came on the back of the promise that he was going to prioritize security, that he would overhaul the security architecture, and he has spent, this is perhaps the 7th month now. The question is, have you spotted any difference from what we used to have, perhaps up until May, and let's even say till June, and what we have now, especially with new men appointed as service chiefs?
Well, what I can say, as far as your question is concerned, is that truly we are seeing a semblance of change. That is in the approach to security challenges that we have. And, this large-scale criminality must be confronted headlong. And for me, it is through a combined effort of everyone. When I say everyone, yes, I agree that the job of security, there are those who are saddled with it. But this can only happen when the president himself, the governors, the police chiefs, security agencies, and all of them truly stand enough. And how do they do that? They must ensure that virtually all that the security agents need, virtually all that the governors need, are made available to them. You see, you mentioned that the governor, His Excellency Governor Muftwang, is the Chief Security Officer.
Yes,
yes, he is. But all along, this is one area that we have always talked about. The man's security chiefdom is very limited. A lot of those situations are situations that if he had the power as the chief security officer, he could direct and give orders, but it still doesn't happen like that. There's this centrality about security. There must be a clearance on rules of engagement from one place to the other and all of that. But to be honest, there is a semblance of change because most of these people you mentioned have shown a commitment. The chiefs, new security chiefs, and some of those who are in the high echelon of our security agencies have shown commitment. But the truth is, like I said earlier, they need to match this with action. Their commitment, their words, and all of that. They need to match it with action. And then talking about the president, I think for me, Asiwaju has a plan for this country, not only in terms of security, in many other areas. Although it might be seeming very difficult and hard now, but I believe there's light beyond the tunnel.
All right.
At the end of the tunnel, I believe there's light. So I want to say yes, I believe that a lot can be done. For instance, they can start by ensuring to find out, to do a proper investigation. For instance, you need to ask questions. Who are these people really who are committing these crimes? What are they against? What do they really want? You know, when you do a comparative analysis, you find that when we had Boko Haram was clear on what it wanted, right? It did not want Western education, and so it went on to attack schools. But this ISWAP, or what do they really want? They are jihadists. They want to, you just come, you take over people's places, you kill them, and then you leave it fallow.
So it is not, it has gone beyond the farmer elder clashes that we used to have in the early 2000s.
Anybody that is describing this as farmers elders clash is wrong. That is a wrong narrative, and I think this narrative is being given by the politicians. This narrative must change because the emerging pattern is so clear. It can never. When you say farmers elders, the elders and the farmers will also be ready. It's like you have a combat. You know, you want to fight me, you tell me, then I'm ready. But these people will just come in the middle of the night, attack people who are sleeping, maim children, kill children, women, and burn down houses. How is that a farmer elders clash? It is not that at all. So anybody that is putting that coloration is a wrong narrative, completely wrong, my brother.
All right. There is no doubt, like you have mentioned, there appears to be a jihadist mindset on the part of the attackers. And the Sultan has been speaking. He says the Plateau killings planned to cause political religious unrest. Human rights seem to mean nothing anymore in Nigeria. That's what the Sultan-led group Jamaatul Nasr al-Islam has been saying. And even the Sultan himself, you know, publicly said it appears that security is weak and that bandits are steps ahead of the security agents in Nigeria. A lot of people are saying that the security agents are not acting enough, are not doing enough, you know, in terms of doing their jobs. But they also said this morning that they've killed over 6,000 terrorists. But on the wider scale, you suggested devolving powers to the governors so that they can take more control of security. Do the merits of this particular decision, does it outweigh the demerits?
It does. It does. Let me start by saying the issue of state policing that has been on the front burner for a long time. It is time that this is looked into seriously. What most people have argued is that when you have state police, which will directly be under the control of the chief executive, that is the governor, they might misuse it, you know, in terms of political power and all of that. I don't believe so. All of those things are very unnecessary. The advantages that state policing has far outweigh any other disadvantage that people may be considering. You can imagine if we had this state policing all along, these areas that were attacked, with the intelligence reports and all of that, definitely there will be a proactive, you know, action in place. Right. So that is just one aspect. But more importantly, the governor who is the chief executive, the chief security officer of a state. That is just in principle. In practice, he still also has to talk to maybe the general officer commanding or the officer commanding Operation Safe Haven and all of that before things can happen. If all of these things are taken away and the man is given full, responsibility and full, powers to direct, instruct, and make sure that, the security agencies do what they should do, it will go a long way. Now, yes, they said they have killed so many. We must give it to our security agents. It's not as if we are completely blaming them. They are also working. That is the truth about it.
So in that sense, it would mean that for all the killings that have taken place, especially in the northern region, the governors should not take the blame. Rather, the president, who is the one person who can give orders on all of these things, should take the blame instead.
Well, I am one that does not really indulge very, very much in blame.
Yeah, but somebody has to take the blame for not perhaps taking action.
Let me say this. Yes, I agree. Virtually everything stops at Mr. President's table. The buck actually stops at his table because he's the leader, and we cannot absolve him completely from blames. We cannot also absolve the governors and security chiefs from blame when this kind of gross security breaches occur. We cannot. So from top to bottom, but beyond all of this, beyond policing, military ordinances, our mentality as citizens also is key. We must understand that our thinking should be alike. That is, in terms of making sure that we combat or counter these attacks effectively. If we must secure our communities, we must be talking about citizens who will not compromise and let security breaches or suspicion of a security breach to go unchallenged.
All right.
We should also talk about security agencies who do not compromise their duty or responsibility. This is part of what is going on. I know that, of course, a lot of people, even when we saw the vice president here on the Plateau, people expected that it should be the president himself. I told them, look, this man has sent a high-level delegation. That is the presidency that came. So blame him this come. But more importantly, on my own part, I want to talk about our security agencies. They are so complacent and they are complicit. I am saying it. You can imagine the excuse given that the terrain is just like sometimes there's and then
sorry, we missed what you said for a couple of seconds. I think the network.
Okay.
Yes, you said it's just like sometimes. I think that was the last thing we had.
Yeah, sometimes the issue of the excuse that the security agencies gave.
Yes.
About the terrain. So I'm trying to liken it to what happens sometimes when there's armed robbery taking place and there's a distress cause and the police tell you they do not have fuel in their car. The same thing with fire service. Sometimes you call, there's a house burning and they say they don't have water in their vehicle. So what are they there for? So it's about their level of preparedness to proactively even stop any attack or counter it when it actually occurs.
All right. Let's take a couple of calls. I know people want to react, and I'll just like you to hang on by we have 1, 2, 3 of them. 0805 5888 192 0805 5888 192, or you can try 0805 5888 193 0805 5888 193. If you're listening from anywhere outside of Nigeria, you can try +234 8099 931 931, and you can go to Facebook at Adamimogo 931 FM to drop your comments. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
greet our host.
Hello, good morning.
The situation in this country, I'm going to have a sorry.
All right, go on.
The situation in the body.
Go on.
You see, I feel security situation in this country, and the way it is being tackled, I'm sorry, we don't have confidence in the security yet. For one thing, they have been collaborating with some of the criminals, that whatever you call them, before they come there, they will have allowed the thing to be more generated into chaos. To the extent that nothing can do about it. Life must have been lost. What is that? That's number one. If the police or the military who are in charge of this criminal aspect of people, if they do look up positively and attentively with their action, I don't think we have anywhere to go in this country.
All right.
Because the president, the governor, will not do this thing alone. They have to call somebody. When they call them, they tell you they don't have fire, they don't have water, they don't have vehicle. But if they are the big men, you see them. You see them going here and there against all this, they will tell you they have not got. And what they do, they are living like too much in this country.
All right, I have to let you go. Sorry, we have just 1 minute. Please do not exceed 1 minute when you have to make your remarks. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Apologies, the network is poor. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah.
My name is Fee.
Fee?
Yeah.
All right, Fee is calling me from where?
I'm calling from Bega.
All right, Fee, go on.
Okay, sorry, please, what's the name of the analyst you have in the studio?
Oh, Mr. Toyin Adesina. Mr. Toyin Adesina is a security expert and managing director of Clearview Security Limited in Plateau. Go on.
Okay. Mr. Toyin, God bless you. God bless you so much.
I believe you can. Mr. Toyin, I hope you can hear him. Oh, okay. You can go on now, Fee.
Everything you have said so far is nothing but the truth. It's nothing but I have listened with keen interest everything you have said, because I was born in Plateau State.
Okay.
I grew up in Plateau State. I know Plateau State so much, but everything Mr. Toyin has said this morning is nothing but the truth. Until there is a political will to prosecute these people, there is no solution. It's just a political will. And the governor does not have the power, that is it. The governor does not have the power. So let them just point themselves. If the government has the political will to prosecute them, then we'll be free. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Fee. Make sure that you go to Facebook and also drop a comment on Facebook. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name? Can you be more audible, please? Okay. All right, Jide from Surulere. Go on, Jide.
Yeah. So, looking at this,
Jide, we are struggling to hear you, Jide. All right, Jide, please endeavor to call back 0805 588 192. You can also go to Facebook and drop your comments regarding the attack in Plateau. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Sam.
Good morning. Sounds like the voice of Damilola.
Damilola from Malaga. God bless you, sir.
Good morning, Damilola.
Honestly, good morning, my brother. I love your guest. That man has actually opened our eyes to every reality about that area. Now, everything is said. There's only one thing I want us to understand there. ISWAP jihadists, we know what they are standing for. And they promise they're going to give them a bloody, a bloody Christmas. And they did it. Now the thing is that the government needs to wake up reality. They need to wake up the reality of that, people in that place. The first thing is that whatever it is, we know the angle to which these people are coming up. And the governor might be jealous but he's not powerful enough to control. The only way out, Mr. Sam, is to go back to state policing and community policing. If that man has the privilege to control or to order the army under him, he will be able to actually handle that thing. 36 is set call. we received and nothing was done. It means that it's just there as a big head. We need to have policing and community policing to get rid of all these killers. Otherwise, this genocide will not stop. That's my day. Good morning.
Devlola, thank you very much. It's a really, really sad and disturbing situation. Let's see, can we take one more call before I let Mr. Toyin Adesina, before I let him go on the program this morning? 0805 588 192 0805 588 192. You can try 0805 588 193. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello. Hello, good morning. Apologies, we're struggling to hear you. Go on. Okay, let's take this other one. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Yes, good morning to you.
My name is Adeajayi.
Mr. Adeajayi, go on, sir.
I don't know what we can do. Even if these people are arrested, they will give them amnesty. They say they want to rehabilitate them. You don't negotiate with terrorists. In America, in other foreign countries, you don't negotiate with terrorists. If these people are caught, let them be wiped away. Let them be killed totally. How can these people, when they come and kill hundreds of people, 500 people, when these people are arrested, they say, okay, we are going to rehabilitate them. We are going to give them an amnesty. If you kill them today, if you kill 100 terrorists, 1 million terrorists, there will be peace somewhere. This one, they came to Plateau some months ago, they killed almost 150. They were not arrested. Even if they are arrested, what could they do? They now say they are giving amnesty. They ask them, let us leave them. Let us bring them back to the spirit again. Let people want up. Let them be killed totally.
All right, thank you.
Let them be killed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adeajayi. A lot of Nigerians are indeed, responding with a lot of passion to this particular incident. Indeed, it has been a really painful one. Mr. Toyin Adesina, thank you very much for your time. I don't know if there's anything you would want to add for the people of Nigeria to hear or take note of.
Okay, thank you very much. It is my pleasure. I just want everyone in Nigeria to know that insecurity anywhere is a threat to security everywhere. So today is Plateau. God forbid, I'm not a prophet of doom. It could be any other place. So we as citizens should key into whatever security system or architecture that we find ourselves in our environment. Right. And God will do the rest for us.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Toyin Adesina. Please stay safe, and we hope that God would grant Plateau State, peace, safety, and especially those who have lost people in this past few years to incidents like this, that God would indeed grant them succor. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's take a breather, yeah. It's been a really hard time listening to Mr. Toyin Adesina, listening to all the problems and the attacks that have happened in Plateau State. It is not something that we are proud about. It's not something that makes one happy. People will be preparing to celebrate Christmas, becoming dead on the eve of the attack. And let me tell you, that attack went on from Saturday up until Tuesday evening. And you can hear Mr. Adesina telling us that even up until yesterday, some person said they still had gunshots, indicating that you may still have some of these attackers somewhere around. Hey, that is why earlier I said thank you to the men of the army, thank you to other security agents, but hey, we need you to please do more. Do more. I have MI on standby, and this is a tribute to those who have lost their lives in terror attacks this year, particularly the one that happened in Plateau. This song was originally recorded as a tribute to the Alufo who were killed without reason in Port Harcourt in the early 2000s. It's a really sad situation, but hey, for those who want to celebrate the season, it is also a period of grief. It's a period where we must reflect, and I have something very important to say when we're done with that song. But this is MI, but the tribute to Alufo and the tribute to everyone else lost in these terror attacks. It is titled Ashes. Tribute to everyone else lost in these terror attacks. It is titled